All right. So I wanted to do a math video. I was looking at the math homework that was sent to me yesterday, and I noticed that nobody did any of the fraction problems, probably because it's still new to us and it's a little scary. So I thought I would do an example. I chose the one, it's under fractions for $3. It says something about go find a recipe and double or triple it to find out what you would do and need if you had to make more of that with mixed numbers. So I found a cake recipe. We have 1/2 cup butter, 1 1/2 cups of sugar. Really hope that you can see this on your screen right now. 3 eggs, 2 1/4 cups of flour, 3 1/2 teaspoons of salt, 1 1/4 cups of milk, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Now, let's just go over really quick how to multiply whole numbers and fractions by, or whole numbers and mixed numbers. So if I've got, let's say 4, and I want to multiply that by 2 1/2, I'm going to multiply the 4 by the 2 and the 4 by the 1/2 separately. So I've really got 4 times 2 plus 4 times 1/2, which 4 times 2 is 8. That one's easy. 4 times 1/2, remember 4 is really a whole number, it's really over 1. So 4 times 1/2 is going to be 4 times 1 times 2 gives you 4 times 1 and 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So it's really 8 plus 2, which that comes out to be a total of 10. So we're going to do that with all of our mixed numbers over here. And we'll say that we're multiplying them by, I don't know, maybe 3. Maybe I want to make 3 cakes rather than just 1 cake. I'm going to see. Can everybody see all of those? It looks like it. Okay, so this first one, I'm going to multiply 3 times 1/2. Remember, 3 is really a whole number, so it's over 1. So 3 over 1. 3 times 1 is 3. 1 times 2 is 2. This is an improper fraction. I have to change it. So 2 over 2 would be a whole, plus an extra 1 over 2 would give me a total of 3 halves for 1 1/2. So we need 1 1/2 cups of butter if we were to multiply this recipe by 3. The next one, 1 1/2 cups of sugar. So 3 times 1 and 3 times 1/2. So I'm multiplying that 3 times the 1 and the 1/2. 3 times 1 is 3. And 3 times 1/2, 3 is really over 1. 3 times 1 is 3. 1 times 2 is 2. We know from our previous problem up here that 3 halves is equal to 1 1/2. So I've really got 3 plus 1 1/2. Remember, just add the whole numbers for 4 1/2. Our next one, 3 eggs, so we'll just multiply 3 times 3. This one's pretty easy. So we need 9 total eggs now. Next one, 2 1/4 cups of flour. So I'm going to multiply that 3 times 2 and by the 1/4. 3 times 2 is 6. And then 3 times 1/4 is really 3 over 1. So 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 4 is 4. So we would actually need 6 3/4 cups of flour. So I've got 3 left here. I've got 3 1/2 teaspoons of salt. So I want you to do these on your own. 3 times 3 1/2. Then we've got 1 1/4 cups of milk. So 3 times 1 1/4. And then 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Well, that'll just be 3 times 1. That's a gimme. So go ahead and pause your video for a second. Try to do these 3 on your own. And then we'll give you the answers here in a second. Okay, so now we're back. So let's check your work. So we will do these 3 and you can see how you got it. So we're going to multiply the 3 times 3 and the 3 times 1/2. I have no idea what that noise was. So 3 times 3 is 9. All right, and then 3 times 1/2 is really 3/1 times 1/2. So 9 plus 3/2. Remember, it's equal to 1 1/2. So 9 plus 1 1/2 is 10 1/2 cups of, or sorry, teaspoons of salt on that one. Next one, 3 times 1 1/4. 3 times 1, and then 3 times 1/4. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 1/4 is really 3/1 times 1/4, which would give you 3 times 1 and 1 times 4, 3/4. So add those together. 3 wholes plus 3/4 is 3 3/4. And lastly, 3 times 1 is 3. So you would need, in total, 1 1/2 cups of butter now. You would need 4 1/2 cups of sugar. You would need 9 eggs. You would need 6 3/4 cups of flour. You would need 10 1/2 teaspoons of salt, 3 3/4 cups of milk, and 3 teaspoons of vanilla. I hope this helps with you today on your math. If you have any questions, please email me, and I'm looking forward to seeing what recipes you have, because you could make these at home, guys, right? Like, you're at home cooking. You could make whatever recipe you decide to triple or double today for the experiment.